not in gear.
Correct.
Yeah.
There we
And
go.
I think it does need to rotate because that one, unless you lift that one.
Well, this one's got to go. At this
right
point,
right there.
yeah, we can raise it up and put it right in its location, wherever it goes. It doesn't really matter where you are.
In what gear you mean?
It doesn't really matter what gear you're in
You
because...
just need to adjust it, the transmission to that gear.
Correct.
Yeah. If that makes sense to somebody out there. And this,
sure that's
what was the name of this channel? This shop or?
There we go.
In the shop.
In the shop. There we go.
Look at that.
So now we're in gear.
Just
now,
amazing.
We can rotate this.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And we're shifting.
And now when you're building one of these, you have to remember that it has to be rotating to operate, to shift through the gears. If you try to shift through the gears without the rotating the shaft, the dog teeth may or may not fit into the slots they need to go for that gear. If you guys ever end up putting one of these together, because sometimes you'll put it together and you'll be like, wow, it won't shift. And yeah, it's not going to shift if you're not turning it.
There we go. Now we're neutral. That's neutral.
Yep. El Neutral.
Yep. Okay. So now we've got this thing set up so that it's transmission's in and it's working. Now we need to put in this cover.
Where did you get the bitchin' stand from?
The bitchin' stand came from these guys.
Motorsport Products.
Yep.
Yep.
It was about 170 bucks shipped.
Well worth it. It's got this nice little tray that pulls out.
It is great.
Yeah.
The first couple motors that I did,
Uh-huh.
actually all the ones on the Suzuki's and the other KTM were all done. Let me get you some light in here. That Suzuki I did a piston on. This one, or that KTM,
you did the piston, yep.
This Suzuki was a complete motor. The one in the back.
And I actually got to weld on that one. You see there's a little weld on the bracket because that was a little modification. So I got to work on that one.
Yeah.
Is this the one I did the clutch thing too? No.
Yes.
Oh, and
you did the clutch mod on there.
And I made that clutch thing.
Yep.
Golly, that was fun. Then this bike is the frame and everything is in such good condition. I didn't even get to break out my TIG welder.
Nope.
So
I might get to on this.
I might get to on something.
Part,
But look at the frame. Look at this frame is in such good condition. Everything about it. I mean, it just looks beautiful. Whoever used this bike did not beat it up that bad. You look, even the rails on the bottom look great. Look at those rails. It's like a new bike, and all the bearings and everything were really good. It's going to be tight, and there's there's the rest of the motor. It's amazing. It's just amazing that Mike puts all this stuff together.
Well, there's the dead stuff.
There's dead cylinder, dead piston. We'll look at that later. Let's get this thing back together.
All right. So we're on this. Now we're into putting this cover on.
Okay.
And this cover, basically, well, let's take these bolts out. This thing sits on here, and there's pin, drum, and
so this bearing here is for the shifter.
for the shifter.
Okay.
And this one is for
The Kickstarter.
For the Kickstarter, correct.
Okay.
So it keeps everything lined up.
And so the Kickstarter catches this gear right here?
No, it's actually on the other side.
Okay.
Where there's actually a gear. The gear, remember the first gear we put in?
Gotcha.
It's actually on the other side of the motor.
Oh.
And there's a on the back side of this shaft, there is another gear.
Uh-huh.
This gear right here
Okay.
that is an intermediate.
Intermediate for the kick shift.
That just floats. It's just an idler gear.
Okay, perfect.
And then your clutch is on this shaft, and it puts those three together.
Okay.
The Kickstarter through this to your
Perfect.
clutch.
Perfect. I'm going to cut this real quick.
Yeah, this thing's pretty fucking clean.
Yep, looks good. Send it.
All right. So now we're going over that, and now there's two dowels. There's one here, and then there's one over here. And those dowels need to line up as well as the
bearings go in. Get a little gravitational help.
Yep.
Oh, look at that. Popping right in there.
So now we need a little bit of encouragement.
A little bit of motivation.
Okay, I think we're all in. Now we still got neutral. We're still good.
Yeah.
So
it has to be in neutral at this point?
No.
Okay.
No, it can be in any gear you want.
Gotcha.
It's just, it's nice to keep it neutral because then you know where you're going.
Okay.
Because a little later on, when we attach this other stuff, we're going to have to shift it into second gear.
Okay.
And if you don't know where you're at,
then yeah.
It's hard to figure that out.
Okay. How about reverse?
There is no reverse.
Just checking. Come on. That was a trick. That was a trick question. I like to throw a trick question in there. See if there's any hesitation. You notice Mike did not hesitate.
Fucking reverse.
It's like he knew that was coming before it even got there. He was hitting it out of the park before the pitch even left the pitcher's hand.
Little
Look at
Loctite.
that little Loctite. So nothing. We don't want nothing coming apart.
Well, these three bolts are kind of important.
And to novices out there, this is an aluminum case. You want to be careful with any power tools and the amount of torque you put on these bolts, because it doesn't take a whole lot to strip out the aluminum threads in the case. Whatever you do, do not use an impact. This tool right here, you know, the lever arm on this tool is that short for a reason. It's made for motorcycles. And Mike's a trained professional.
Now we got our.
Oh, and that's the thing that puts the load on that goes on that little thing right there.
Well, now.
Oh, this is the coolest part in the motorcycle right
This little guy right here. This is our shifting piece. This is very cool. I gotta make sure of something first.
This is the piece that gives it a positive feel for engagement of the gears.
Well, hang on. Locking lever. I'm looking for Loctite, but it's not saying I need Loctite on this. But
Did it call out Loctite on these two?
oh yeah.
Oh,
but,
okay.
I think I'm gonna put it on anyway.
I would. It wouldn't hurt.
I'm gonna do this. Now there's a dowel.
Okay.
And it goes in the hole.
Oh, here, let me come around the other side. See the hole there? The little hole?
Yeah, hold this back.
That locates.
There's
That guy right there has got to locate into there. You'll feel it'll drop right in there. Did it drop in?
Yep.
Oh, and you go. Oh. Okay, we might need an extra set of hands. Here.
Now, one thing that's concerning
This
me
goes back even further. Yes.
is that This thing should sit, I'm pretty sure that it sits there. That may be not, I don't know where neutral is on this thing. This thing might be backwards.
What thing?
Or it may not be in neutral. It may be in a false neutral.
Could be between gears.
It could be, yes. Because that is supposed to be over here, I'm pretty sure, for neutral.
Let's see. Oh, it's okay. So it would have to be.
But it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter at this point.
Because it's going to be where it is. Right?
It's going to be where it is, and
that's going to be where it's at.
then we're going to...
Okay, do you want me to put Loctite on that bolt?
Yeah, we'll put a little bit on there. Just a little bit.
Yeah, spring is tight.
Yes, it is. Now I need my...
Again, when working with aluminum parts, torque is very important. You don't want too much.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, so you can shift it like that.
Yeah, I can.
So that should be...
That might be neutral.
Well, no, you're between a gear there. Right there, you're in a gear. You're not all the way in a gear. What's going on there? Oh, that might have been, yeah. There you go. Because remember, once you get to fifth gear,
Yep, it stops.
it's not going to go any further. So that was fifth gear you saw. And you notice he did rotate it. It's got to be rotating to get through the gears.
Yep. Okay, now this is the shift shaft. And on this particular motorcycle, the shift shaft and the kickstart shaft are
Oh, they run through the same dealio.
coaxial.
That's right. It's like N1 and N2
Correct.
on a turbine motor.
Correct.
So this would be N2 because it's the inner shaft.
Correct. And it's kind of cool. I mean, the reason is because on this particular motorcycle, they
Did that need to go in at the same time? It did, didn't it?
no, we should. I'm not sure.
I think it does, Mike.
We might have to take something apart. I don't
We might
know.
have to loosen this guy up.
What's it say here? Slide the shift shaft. At the same time, push back the slide plate. 5.
Oh,
That. Yeah. So we can slide it back. There you go.
Dun,
There it is.
dun, 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 dun.
So now it's in.
Dun, 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 dun. I love it when that happens. When a plan comes together.
There it is. So that's in, and that's on there, which is right. That's just a
That's
slide.
a big old weld, isn't it?
It's a good weld.
They put a big old beat on that sucker.
Yeah.
They did not want that coming apart, I'll tell you that.
So there we go. We've got
The Chicons.
basically the transmission. for
Transmission.
This bike is done.